Guys, it's Billy and today we're going to be doing a true crime video, which I know is different than what I usually do, but I thought I'd venture into something slightly different. I've been loving watching them on YouTube, so I thought I'd start with a case that is very new and not really spoke about. This is the case of Molly Mclaren, who was 23 years old and she was from Kent in the UK. She was raised by mother Jo Mclaren and father Doug Mclaren, who were married, and I couldn't really find out if they had any other brothers or sisters, but just to get an overall, she was 23 and she had a mum and a dad that lived together in Kent. Friends who knew her described her as being bubbly, enthusiastic, motivating, and just an overall really good person that people wanted to be around. She was quite popular, she had lots of friends, her family cared about her. I think she became motivated from the fact that she did suffer with bulimia, and from that suffered with anxiety, which didn't stop her from doing anything. In fact, it made her give her more of a purpose. She had a social media and a blog which she openly spoke about this. And I just think that's just such an amazing thing, because mental health isn't spoke about enough, and having a platform like blog or a social media account which you can speak about, it really helps others. In July of 2016, of where this all began, she met someone called Joshua Stimpson on Tinder, which is a very popular social media site, which I'm guessing all of you know, where you swipe left, swipe right, depending on whether you want them or whether you don't. A bit of an insight with Joshua, because this will help you understand him a little bit better. So Joshua had previously dated girls on the app. One in particular was Alexandra Dale, who had met Joshua Stimpson in person. They went on a date, and once they'd finished the date, she realised that she'd missed 25 calls from him, which is very strange after literally 25 minutes of leaving a date. She began to leave it, not really speak to him, and then she went on holiday and she got a few more messages which were a bit concerning, with saying she doesn't need to speak to any other men, and even one that said, "I'll fly out and drown you," which from then on she just ignored him, blocked him, and then never saw him again. Back onto the story about Molly. Molly then spoke to Joshua again in July of 2016, and they started messaging and texting each other. They exchanged phone numbers, and after a while in November, so a few months after speaking, they met in person. Molly told her mum that she was really nervous about meeting Joshua and she was a bit apprehensive, but after meeting she told her mum that he was pretty normal and the date went absolutely fine. Molly's mum, Jo, told the papers that she'd not really dated people more than 6 months. I don't know why this was. Maybe she just didn't have any interest in sticking with people for very long, or maybe she just enjoyed being single and having just a bit of fun. After meeting for the first time, Molly and Joshua decided to meet each other more regularly, and they did start seeing each other, travelling to see each other, going places, and just enjoying each other's company, which in a relationship when it first starts is what you want. You want to see each other, speak to each other as much as you can, so you can get more of a connection and a bond with each other. A little side note, which I thought I'd add, I'm not sure whether it's important to you, but I thought I'd add it in as it was noted down, that Joshua did also tell everybody that he had bipolar, which was unofficially diagnosed. So he was never diagnosed with bipolar, but did tell people that he did, which made Molly a little bit nervous and apprehensive about going to see him. He never showed any signs of having change in mood or change in behaviour, so she just thought this was normal. Molly, as I said earlier, was very friendly. She had lots of friends, lots of family, and she really wanted to introduce Joshua to that side of her. When you get to that point in a relationship where you do meet each other's family and friends, that's like quite a big step. That means that you're more official and more boyfriend-girlfriend. So Molly was so happy that he'd met her friends, her family. But on the other hand, Joshua never showed Molly any of his friends and family, which I suppose isn't a red flag. It wasn't a red flag to her anyway. I mean, sometimes people are a little bit nervous, don't want to bring things on too quickly, which is absolutely fine, and she was not bothered by this. She just kept it as it was and just maybe thought that he was a little bit shy, maybe his family was a little bit different to hers, and she just kept going and they were enjoying their time together. Relationship was steady and there wasn't really much to go on. They were just seeing each other from, the July, and it was now the March. They'd almost been seeing each other a year. But in March of 2017, Molly became bored and uninterested in the relationship and told her mum that she didn't really want to be with him anymore. But after a break, her and Josh decided to get back together, try and make things work. Josh even let Molly meet his family and friends, and which they said that she was a good influence and that he made him push to be better in the future. Not long after they got back together in March, in April, there was a bit of a big argument that happened in their relationship. Whilst they were in a hotel with Molly's family, they were staying in a different room. It came to a point where you could hear Molly shouting at Joshua, and Molly's mom was a bit concerned about what was going on. And Molly left the room and confided in her mom and saying, "You'd never guess what he was doing. He's been recording me and not even telling me," of which she was really concerned about why you'd record themselves. I'm not sure what the videos were of, whether it was personal or whether it was just him, but there was a quote that he said the only reason he was filming her was if they thought he had some proof. And I'm not sure whether that was proof sexually or proof of them arguing. I couldn't really find out. Again, this is a really new case, so a lot of the information is pretty new. But this was a huge trust breaking thing for Molly, and she really didn't know what to do now. I think this was the point where she realised she didn't want to be in the relationship with him. She'd been in the relationship for over a year now, and it just wasn't working. And again, Molly then went to her mom, who she was so close to and told everything to. She was like her best friend, and told her that she had no feelings left for Joshua and that it really broke her and that she doesn't want to be with him anymore. Once Molly returned home, she confided in her mom, telling her that she had no feelings left for Joshua, which, I mean, it is a big thing. They'd been together for a year now, and it just wasn't working. They'd had a few breaking points, and she just didn't have any feelings for her anymore. And at a late birthday celebration with Molly's family, that's when she ended the relationship with Joshua, and that's when Molly's family never saw Joshua again. In the 20th of June, Joshua is seen on CCTV footage in the Asda, which is a local Asda to them. I think it was Maidstone Road, picking up a sub-beta paring knife and then a pickaxe from the local home base as well, which later do we know these would have been the murder weapons used on Molly Mclaren. These weapons did not leave his car at all until the day of her murder as well. In the 12 days leading up to Molly's death, Joshua became irrational, and he started posting really, really horrible things on her social media accounts. He was telling her that she was doing drugs, and this was all for her family and friends to see, which was obviously an awful position for her to be in. She was doing cocaine, and he even put "there's more to come," which is a big threat. Molly's family were really good in this situation and told her to print everything off and give it to the police. And she did. And the police officer that was in charge was PC Philpott, was there, and he was the detective or police officer in charge of this case. And he basically rang Joshua while she was there and put him on a loudspeaker. He told him to remove this post and specifically said, "We wouldn't want Molly coming to us again about you, would we?" To which Joshua said, "Wouldn't we?" Which is really strange because he's just so arrogant, and I think that's more what he wanted in this relationship, is arrogance. Throughout this whole case, I've come to notice that he is a really arrogant guy who is really cool. He thinks he's got everything and that he can have anybody that he wants, but unfortunately he can't. But soon after, he did remove all the posts and comments, and they thought that was it. They're never going to see each other again. They blocked each other, and that was all. Well, that was until the night before her death, where she was at a pub with her friends, and she soon saw Joshua walk in with another girl. But whilst being there, Joshua was in the smoking area with this girl who was not named, and he couldn't take his eyes off Molly's friends or Molly herself, which they found quite creepy. But her friend Chloe described Molly as not being bothered, not caring, or she wasn't even scared. She was just having a good time. Molly wanted to go home and tell her mom what had happened that evening, that Joshua was there and following her yet again. But her friends just told her to brush it off and that he's a psycho. But unfortunately, little did they know that this was going to be the last time Molly Mclaren was going to be seen alive. She woke up on the 29th of June early to do her exercises because she was studying exercise science at the University of Kent. She went to the gym quite regularly to record these videos for assignments and everything like that. She got in her car and drove to the Pure Gym near her home, and she entered the gym at 10 in the morning. She was only there to record some exercises that she planned to use for her assignment at university. Only a few minutes later, Joshua arrived at the same gym. He picked up an exercise mat and a couple of exercise equipment and placed it right next to her. She soon confronted him and said, "Are you following me?" A video, which will be down here somewhere, of Molly and Joshua in the gym at the same time. I'm not sure whether I can put it in, so if not, I'll pop it in the comments below. At 10:45 in the morning, she texted her mum. She said, "Mum, he's at the gym and he's come right next to me." Her mum instantly told her to come home, leave everything where it is, and just get home and drive safely. Unfortunately, little did she know this would also be the last time that she'd ever hear or see her daughter ever again alive. Molly was sensible. She listened to her mum and went outside. She left the gym, which Molly then messaged her friend Amy, and there are the texts available. I'll pop them in the link below. He said things like, "How does he know I'm here? Is he watching over my shoulder?" Whilst texting her friend, she didn't realise that Joshua had gone to his car and grabbed the knife, which is going to lead to her death. At 11:08 a.m. that morning, literally an hour after she'd got to the gym, Joshua was opening the door, grabbing it open and grabbing her out of the car, and she couldn't even defend herself. It was that quick. She couldn't shut the door, she couldn't put her hands up, and before she knew it, she was being stabbed to death. The attack was unfortunately or fortunately in a public area, and there was a lot of people around who were going to witness the death of this young girl. One in particular was Benjamin Morton, who actually tried to stop Joshua in his act by shutting his leg in the car door. And when Joshua tried to escape the scene, Benjamin then stopped him from escaping the scene so the police could get him. They had already been called. I can't say how long it had been, but it wasn't long before they had actually got there and tried to get Joshua. Joshua got out of the car covered in blood and he wiped his face, really not bothered by the whole situation, and walked up to the police and said, "You want me," which is beyond creepy. The bystanders and the police had said that he was so calm, collected, and he wasn't even bothered about killing his ex-girlfriend. Molly unfortunately sustained over 75 stab wounds. And that was in a matter of minutes. It didn't take him that long to do that. Unfortunately, Molly was pronounced dead at the scene at 11:43 a.m. that morning. Joshua Stimpson admitted to manslaughter but not admitting to murder, and this was before his trial at Maidstone Court. In the court, it took the jury less than 4 hours to convict Joshua of murder, which is a crazy amount of time. They were all certain that he had committed this crime. I mean, there's so much proof, there was so many people around, and there is CCTV footage of all of this happening. Joshua showed no emotion to the sentencing that he was given, and that was to serve a minimum of 26 years in prison. Judge Williams, which was the judge in this case, told him that he may never be released from prison, stating that this was a cruel, calculated and cowardly act. Judge Williams then said that this was out of wickedness, it was revenge, and it was deliberate and there was no need for the killing at all. The judge also said that Joshua was not suffering from any mental disorder, including what he'd told everyone earlier, which was bipolar. She also stated that you are a highly dangerous man and have a threat to women in the future, which they know this, and which means that he probably will never get parole and he will be in prison forever. Soon after Molly's death, her parents set up the Molly Mclaren Foundation, which was set up to provide and educate and raise awareness for people with mental disorders, such as the ones that Molly had herself, and they want to live her memory on of how proud she was about her illnesses. This is a solved case, so there's no theories, there's no nothing, there's proof and evidence, and I hope you guys learned a little bit about this. This isn't a widely talked about case, it is a UK-based case, and hopefully that's what I'm going to be doing more on my channel, which is more unheard of crimes that have happened in the UK. And if you guys want to know or hear any more stories or any more videos, then either leave a comment below of what you want to see next, or just give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!